You were allowed the pure and tranquil life of a spinster. I was not.
I'm very grateful.
So you should be. You are young and pretty and need to be shown to advantage.
After everything that just unfolded in HBO's glossy period drama, it makes sense that The Gilded Age Season 4 arrived with a huge update. The show is stepping into its fourth chapter with the confidence of a series that has finally hit its stride, especially because Julian Fellowes and his team have been steadily expanding the cast while the spotlight on the show keeps growing. The bump in attention really picked up after the end of The Gilded Age 2, and the momentum didn't fade as the story pushed into Season 3. That extra attention didn't just sit there either, because Season 3 kept building on it with consistently rising viewership. Week after week, the Emmy-nominated drama pulled in numbers that broke its own records. The show also embraced bold plot moves that got people talking, strengthening that feeling that the series was finally stepping into the space it always aimed for. When a show manages that, the energy around it shifts, and it became clear that The Gilded Age was no longer just another period drama, it was turning into HBO's next major prestige hit. So when HBO announced that The Gilded Age Season 4 had officially been ordered, it felt like the sudden twist wasn't really a surprise. The announcement came right after the buzz from a shocking character death and just a few weeks before Season 3 wrapped on August 10. Francesca Orsi, the EVP of HBO programming, highlighted how the show's major viewership boost and glowing critical reception made the decision simple. For HBO, the show's ability to transport viewers to 1880s New York while offering an irresistible weekly experience was reason enough to commit to another season. Universal Television president Erin Underhill echoed that sentiment in her own statement, focusing on how each season managed to pack in rich history, dramatic punch, standout performances, and meticulous production value. She emphasized that spending time with these characters only made the show easier to love and that they were thrilled to see audiences all over the world wanting more. When the people behind the scenes speak that passionately, it's easy to understand how the renewal happened so quickly. Looking at the numbers, the momentum speaks for itself. The Gilded Age didn't follow the usual pattern of many dramas that slowly lose steam over time. Instead, the show kept rising, which is rare. It already snagged an Emmy win and 6 additional nominations, but the real proof lies in how the audience kept growing throughout Season 3. The show increased consistently for 5 straight weeks, which is the kind of streak networks love to see. Episode 5 alone drew 4 million viewers in its first 3 days, largely helped by the boost it received on HBO Max. Taken as a whole, the show sits roughly 20% higher in viewership than before. That spike also came right after the surprise death of John Adams in Episode 6, which shook up the already large ensemble cast. The move mirrored the kind of boldness seen in another major HBO series, The White Lotus, which also experienced its biggest audience surge in its 3rd season. But even though The White Lotus had a fairly steady climb, The Gilded Age has surged in a way that feels like it's fulfilling the potential people saw in it from day one. Because of that, the latest storyline developments feel even more important. Season 3 ended with Bertha Russell shattered by her husband's decision to leave her. After rising even higher socially thanks to the Newport Ball, Bertha was blindsided when George walked away. The move shattered the stable foundation she always thought she had, and it left her facing a future she never imagined. Even though she's one of the toughest characters on the show, the loss of George will follow her heavily as the next season begins. This is where the possibility of Monica O'Brien returning could stir things up even more. Monica, played by Merritt Weaver, only appeared briefly in Season 3 during Gladys Russell's wedding to Hector, Duke of Buckingham. But her short appearance made it very clear that she and Bertha don't see the world the same way. Bertha's obsession with perfection and control clashed hard with Monica's blunt, straightforward personality. Bertha pushed through her vision for Gladys's wedding without considering anyone's feelings, and because she was so certain she was right, George's departure hit her even harder. So Monica's return in Season 4 could happen at the worst possible moment for Bertha. With George and their son Larry choosing to stay at their men's club, Bertha will be left alone in their massive East 61st Street mansion. Monica showing up during that time could easily make Bertha feel even more exposed, but it could also be exactly what forces her to confront the choices that pushed her family away. Monica's support might not come off as comforting because of her bluntness, but she may still be the only family member Bertha has left to talk to. Even though the two sisters clash, Bertha might have no other option but to lean on her. Monica's return also matters because Merritt Weaver is such an asset to the cast. Her character offered a refreshing contrast to the grand, polished world of the upper class, and there's a lot more room for her to shake things up. Bertha might not want to hear Monica's opinions, especially when Monica doesn't sugarcoat anything, but that honesty might be exactly what Bertha needs. After forcing Gladys into a marriage and handling everything with an iron grip, Bertha could benefit from someone who cuts through her defenses. If anyone can make her recognize what went wrong and what she needs to fix, it's Monica. While Bertha and George's marriage falling apart sets a painful tone for Season 4, it also opens space for new couples to step into the spotlight. Gladys and the Duke of Buckingham have already become the strongest relationship going into the next season. Even though their marriage was arranged, the two managed to build a surprisingly happy partnership. From the start of the series, George and Bertha seemed like the unbeatable pair. Always supportive, always united. But their argument over Gladys's future shattered that bond in a way that seems hard to undo. Ironically, the marriage Bertha controlled so tightly turned out to be the most successful one. Gladys and Hector developed a genuine respect and affection for each other, especially after the issues surrounding Sidmouth Castle proved that Gladys could hold her own. Their connection only grew stronger as Season 3 came to a close. Because Gladys revealed she is 4 months pregnant, Season 4 will likely dive into how they handle becoming new parents. The challenges ahead will test their relationship, but their happiness at the end of Season 3 suggests they will continue to grow into a loving and dependable family. There's also another replacement in the works for George and Bertha, although this one comes with a very different dynamic. Ended Season 3 by setting up a lavender marriage, a practical arrangement that allows each of them to live separate lives while still presenting a united front in society. Their relationship isn't built on love, but it is built on ambition. In that sense, they mirror George and Bertha more closely than it might appear. They both understand the social game, and they're both willing to do what it takes to climb. Because Oscar and Enid already schemed together in Season 1, they know each other well enough to make their marriage function as a strategic alliance. Even though it lacks affection, their partnership could be one of the most formidable ones in Season 4. They don't need emotional intimacy to get what they want, they just need to cooperate. So while the Buckinghams will replace George and Bertha emotionally, Oscar and Enid will replace them in a purely strategic sense. Both couples will offer different reflections of what power looks like in this world, and together they'll highlight how much the tone of the show has shifted. All of these threads, the renewal, the massive viewership boost, Bertha's downfall, Gladys's new strength, and Oscar's calculating marriage set the stage for a 4th season that feels bigger and more emotional than anything the show has done before. Because every storyline now comes with heightened stakes, Season 4 is shaping up to be the one that pushes the Gilded Age into even more ambitious territory. And even though the characters are dealing with heartbreak, rivalry, or new beginnings, the show itself is heading into its next chapter with more momentum than ever. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.